Thank you, Elisa and Leo, and thank you for having me here and for coming to join this conversation. I'd like to start off by laying out how this conversation about speech and freedom, the protection of expression in the context of the campus, how it relates to the basic mission of the university, and what are some of the main challenges that we are faced with today when we are looking to continue to defend both free speech and open expression, as well as academic freedom. And I'll just say up front that for the purpose of my remarks, probably contrary to my colleagues, I'm not going to differentiate free speech from academic freedom very strictly, and I will try to explain why. So first of all, how is any of that related to what universities and colleges do? And colleges basically have two main and interrelated missions. We are looking to advance research, to push forward the boundaries of knowledge, to learn more about the world, about ourselves in a variety of ways. So this is one aspect of our mission that is research related. And then our other main mission or purpose for existing as institutions is teaching. We educate the next generation of citizens and workers and members of our society. Oftentimes, people think about free speech as related or as justified more directly through the argument regarding research. So the common statement or suggestion or justification that we hear regarding free speech is that we need to protect open expression, including expression that is controversial or unpopular or problematic in a variety of ways, because this is the main way in which we can challenge dogma, or we can push forward our knowledge, or we can learn to understand things in different ways, in new ways, have new angles on them, right? And this is basically the centrality of free speech to the college fulfilling or the university fulfilling its mission. And what oftentimes happens is that people then would tell you, or a common justification to reconsidering how open our expression should be, or to maybe even limiting speech in some ways, would be related to teaching, right? So you would hear, okay, it's important to pursue problematic, controversial, etc. ideas, but to the extent that we are looking to educate our students and we are looking to create an inclusive and welcoming environment, then we shouldn't necessarily protect all forms or protect or remain open to all forms of expression on campus, because then we might turn off some of our students, hurt their feelings, or create an environment that is unwelcoming and unsupportive of their of them as individuals or as members of identity groups. And I think there is something to this argument, right? This is a common construction of the argument about the place of free speech on campus. But I'd actually like to suggest that generally speaking, the inclusion of different opinions, perspectives, visions, and identities on our campus, including in our classrooms, is central to our mission and requires that we actually protect free speech through the mechanisms of academic freedom that are mostly related into the classroom, right, and to the teaching relationship, as well as beyond it, right? So basically, in order for us to be supportive of the diversity of people that we are now educating more and more, more and more groups towards more and more jobs and roles and positions in society. In order to be able to do that effectively, we actually need to maintain or hold on to our commitment to free speech in ways that would proactively include all voices in our classrooms and on our campuses, right? So the basic premise should be not that free speech is good for the promotion of new ideas, but bad for people who might be harmed or feel excluded as a result of it. The basic premise, as I see it, is that free speech protects the opportunity of all members of our campus and should be used to protect all members of our campus in their ability to participate as equal members of the conversation that we are trying to have, a conversation that includes both teaching and the promotion of new forms of knowledge. So, in my ideal construction of of my perspective, before I look just for a couple minutes into some of the challenges to implementing it, my ideal construction is that free speech is actually a productive foundation for creating the condition that permit us to promote or push forward the boundaries of knowledge while we are including all members of our campuses as equal participants in this effort that includes both research and teaching. Now, this is all very nice and good when it's happening on the piece of paper in front of me, but the way that it actually operates on campus is oftentimes way messier, as I have learned in my 3 years so far as the chair of Penn's Committee on Open Expression, where I'm responsible for enacting policies and making decisions about cases that involve tensions surrounding free speech. And so I want to just enumerate a few. Am I doing good on time? Yep. Oh, good. So I want to enumerate some of the challenges that I see to realizing this idealized vision of free speech as a form of, or as a foundation for supporting a diverse and equal campus. Some of the challenges, as I see them today, first of all, there is the one that is listed right here on the the title of your panel, which is polarization. Polarization, of course, creates unique challenges in a diverse society and on a diverse campus. And the problem with polarization in the context that we're speaking about here is that it creates lower levels of trust across different opinions. So we have a harder time assuming good faith arguments from people with whom we disagree. And the tensions around unfortunate or unpopular or controversial statements more easily erupts because we are living in polarized times. Another challenge that polarization creates beyond mistrust is that we sometimes see an abuse of principles of free speech, and the abuse can take a few forms, right? It can appear as a demand to be allowed to voice controversial or unpopular views that is actually can more readily be understood as an attempt to express hate-based or bigoted ideas, right? So we see people who are looking to use free speech as a disguise or as a cover for views that, even if protected on First Amendment and other related norms, practices, rules, and laws, these views still are not and should not be welcome on a college campus, because the campuses are not just a general part of the democratic public debate. Campuses are institutions that are mission-based, and so they should be permitted to promote certain forms of expression and actually reject or limit others. I'm not saying censor others, right, or prevent, but we can elevate forms of speech that we feel are productive to our mission. And sometimes under the guise of free speech, forms of expression that are not only unpopular but also undermine our mission continue to thrive. And I think this is one of the problems that polarization creates for us. I want to give one quick example that will illustrate my next challenge, which is the concerns about knowledge, truth, and reality-based arguments. These are all notions that the campus lives on and lives for, and universities are meant to promote ideas that are evidence-based in whatever discipline that they operate, right? So we have our evidentiary rules that we are looking to uphold even in the face of diverse and differing opinions, and the rejection of the notion of truth or knowledge or evidence, a rejection that comes from various ideological perspectives and is voiced by diverse groups of people in society. This is a challenge to the way that we operate, and I think we need to uphold and promote and be explicit about our norms regarding what is acceptable speech in this regard. For instance, if I'm supporting a conference at the Environmental Science Department, I don't need to promote or elevate voices that deny climate change or voices that are coming from the Flat Earth Society. That's not promoting my mission in the science department. I don't think this is undermining the free speech rights of people who hold these views if I'm not inclined to elevate their voices in my imaginary conference that I'm holding on these matters. I want to, because as you probably have heard, Stephen Hawking passed away last night. I'll quote one sentence from him in his honor in this regard. The greatest enemy of knowledge is not ignorance, it's the illusion of knowledge. And I think free speech can help us struggle against holding on to the illusion of knowledge, but this can only happen, as Stephen Hawking knew, can only happen when we work within the boundaries of our disciplinary norms and practices and rules. Okay, I think these are the main concerns that I want to start us off with, and then I'm happy to talk a little bit more about additional challenges to operating, enacting inclusive free speech on campuses today, including the realities of inequality in our society and how they are reflected on our college campuses, people's tendency towards willful ignorance and other concerns. But maybe I'll stop here with this basic framework, and happy to take questions about any of this.
Thank you, Sigal.